1970s was a period of great churning in Indian politics, society, and it was a period of intense people struggles that led finally to the emergency being declared by Indira Gandhi. A lot of our students, they just had to take positions. Where do you stand? Struggle against attacks on democracy, against emergency, the working class rights, what is happening to the country. So it was a big political turning process. The major challenges we had to face was the continuous erosion of students' rights in the educational institutions, the continuous narrowing of education as a right, and the beginning of what is now very rampant is the privatization of education, and education being converted into a privilege and not a right. The attacks on democracy and democratic rights by the Swedish movement within the campuses. So there was a whole gamut of issues, from the restrictions on the growth of education to the attacks on the democratic rights of the students in our education, and repression. So very intense repression. Particularly in the period leading up to the emergency and during the emergency. JNU was probably the only university in the country where we had a one-day strike against the emergency, a three-day strike against the emergency. You had situations where there was a broad daylight kidnapping of SFI students by the Delhi police. It's probably the only university in the students' movement that was figured in the top 6 cases of emergency excesses examined by the Shah Commission then. But the United Center of Students frightened the ruling classes. I'll tell you, during emergency, Indira Gandhi was the chancellor of the university. So she had to come for the university court meeting. So we from the SFI said that we won't allow her to come into the campus. What were we? Those days of over 2,000 students. But the Indian establishment was so frightened that they shifted the venue of the court meeting from the university to Vijayanagar. So Indira Gandhi never came there. Well, the fight against emergency was very, very big in Kerala. Fight emergency was very, very, very big in Bengal. The fight the Bengal comrades were fighting. And was an emergency situation from the beginning of the 1970s, when the rest of the country had to fight from 25 for about 5 years before that, the Bengal students joined the fight. And let me tell you, during emergency, I was also on the ground. So I was my lawn tennis captain of the university. So being underground, the best way was to go to the championship. So Dhanbad was very good. So I went to Calcutta, first time in my life. Well, not a single SFI flag, not a single SFI student you would find in Presidency College, Jabalpur University, nowhere. But the day the emergency was withdrawn, on all these colleges and the thing, you would find it as a SFI flag. Where did they come from? Suddenly. So a lot of underground activity was organized and very efficiently done in Bengal, in Kerala, in Andhra.